How do you pass the CPE speaking test? I'm here to tell you how to pass the speaking exam. Are you ready? Let's go. Take your English to the native level. You will take the CPE exam with one or two other candidates. If you are a part of a trio, the test will be longer to compensate for one extra speaker. There will be two examiners. The interlocutor, the one sitting opposite you and asking the questions, and the examiner sitting on the side. There are 3 sections for the speaking test. Each section is designed to evaluate different skills with different tasks and interaction patterns. I will explain everything in more detail right now. The first question I get asked all the time is, how is it marked? It's marked like this. Both the interlocutor and the examiner will grade you. They will be grading you according to 5 different categories. Let's take a look at them. The first criteria to be evaluated in your speaking test is your grammar resource. What does that really mean? The CPE exam requires you to have excellent control of basic grammatical structures, things like inversions, third conditionals. The main focus is on the flexible and appropriate use of English in all parts. Okay, so done with the first criteria. The second criteria of your speaking test is lexical resource. This means that they will evaluate the range and accuracy of your vocabulary. CPE vocabulary should sound natural, like that of a native speaker, and it should be relevant to the topic. More than that, it should include a range of phrasal verbs, idioms, collocations, and this is why I post a different phrasal verb every week on my Instagram or on my Facebook page. I will leave the link down below so you can follow and don't miss a thing. Because in the end, what you need to show is that you're comfortable with the language. The third criteria they will evaluate in your CPE exam is discourse management. It means they are evaluating your fluency and your structure. Speech should be fluent and natural. By giving a well-structured response, you will show that you're comfortable and confident with the language. And this is what they want to see. The fourth criteria they evaluate is pronunciation. Pronunciation is the way you sound. You should sound intelligible at all times and as natural as possible. So there must be accuracy at all levels, individual sounds, word stress, and sentence intonation. The fifth and last criteria they evaluate is interactive communication. Interactive communication means teamwork, and you're going to make a ton of points just by paying attention to your colleague and making little sounds like, ah, I see. I totally agree with you. Do not interrupt, and when you want to stop speaking, you just look at your colleague and say, what do you think? What is your opinion about it? Do you agree with me? You know, this is so simple. It will boost your grade. Do not forget to interact. Do not forget to interact. This is your chance to get some extra points easily. Can I make mistakes and still pass the CPE? And the answer is, of course, yes. It is perfectly possible to make mistakes on the CPE speaking test and still be awarded a pass. However, it is very important to stress that it depends on the amount of mistakes you make. And of course, how frequent the mistakes are. For example, making a mistake using the present continuous tense is much more serious than making a mistake using an inversion or another sophisticated form. Likewise, a series of mistakes will just show the examiner that you don't know how to use it, or you have no awareness that you made a mistake and cannot correct yourself. And if I make a mistake, should I correct it? Yes, correct yourself. Please do so. By leaving a mistake uncorrected, the examiner will never know if it was a slip or if you really didn't know that you made a mistake. Obviously, the ideal scenario is not to make any mistakes, but if you do, and you were aware of your mistake, correct it calmly, and move on. Another frequently asked question is, how about my accent? Can I have an accent and still pass the CPE? Of course you can. The CPE is a proficiency exam for non-native speakers. Everybody knows that you're not a native, and the accent is kind of expected. If you have no accent at all, of course your grade is going to be high, but it doesn't mean that if you do, your grade will be lower than that. There are cases in which the accent is noticeable, but the amount of sophisticated vocabulary and the use of English is so perfect that it makes no difference. The main points here should be intelligibility, flexibility, and consistency. With the rise of globalized English, the boundaries between what's native and what's non-native are blurred. And accent is not even mentioned anywhere in the marking criteria. Now, this is a funny question, and I think it's funny because I had that question myself. Will I lose marks for speaking American English? Of course not. As long as the vocabulary you're using is standard and accepted in American English, you're not going to be marked down. Now, pay attention to what I'm going to say because this is really important. In the speaking test or in the writing test, consistency is the key. So don't go swinging around from American English and British English. And, some people think that if they show they can do it in American English and in British English, their grade is going to be higher. And what's going to happen is your grade is going to... Don't do that. And here comes another interesting question. Should I avoid slang during the speaking test? And the answer is no, not at all. Slang is a key feature of the way native speakers communicate. So for the purposes of the CPE speaking test, a little bit of slang is a natural way of showing that you're comfortable with the language, that you're familiar with the language, as long as it's appropriate, right? What's poppin'? Yo, what's up? Possibly not the best way for you to start the test, okay? Keeping ourselves motivated is one of the most difficult things while studying. So subscribe to my WhatsApp list and I will send you a message every week just to remind you of what you need to do, okay? It's free. Just click it down there. And if you did like this video, please rate it and subscribe to the channel. Do not forget to ring the bell and you will receive notifications of every time I post a video. Stay tuned for the next one. My name is Flavia Costa. I am your CPE teacher. See you next class.